All right. Happy holidays, everyone. It's Alex at the LaSalle branch and Kara at the North Liberty branch here once again for our monthly comics chat. And since it is coming so close to the holidays, we're actually going to be on topic and talk about holiday comics. And Kara is going to go first.
Yes, so this is one that I've talked about before, but since it's Christmas, I thought we would talk about it again. The comic is called Klaus. And basically, this is the story of Santa Claus, but it's really magic infused, really imaginative, as you can see by this spread here. This is just like one of my favorite spreads. But basically, Klaus is an exiled woodsman, and he finds out that the kids in town, they like don't have any toys. It's like outlawed for the kids to have toys because like the king's son has to have all the toys. So he starts making them toys and illegally sneaking into town and dropping them off at their houses. And there's like music and magic here too. He travels alongside a white wolf, and eventually he ends up facing Krampus, who is sort of like this demon monster from Germanic mythology. So it takes a lot of different Scandinavian and Germanic mythologies and like puts them together in a really neat way. After this volume was written, they also, Dan Mora and Grant Morrison also went on to collaborate on the new adventures of Klaus, and those include other kinds of, go ahead and go to the next one. Those include other kinds of Santa Claus myths that come together, or, holiday myths that come together. So in this one, Klaus and the Witch of Winter, they're all working together to save Christmas in this one. And it's beyond, Klaus takes place long ago, but this is more like present day. As you can see, there's this dad who's dressing up as Santa Claus, and then in comes Klaus, and he's like, really, you're Santa Claus? So it's, the extended comics are just really like fun and action packed, whereas in the original one, there's more character development, but they're all really great reads for Christmas.
There's only so much you can do with Santa Claus. You got to make him a superhero at some point.
Exactly.
And give him a Joffrey-style villain.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to talk about, it was just a one-off issue towards the later end of Fables by Bill Willingham, and it's in the collection I have here. It's called All in a Single Night. And you find out, you're following Red Rose in this one, and this is late in the, I kind of hesitate to talk about the plot of this one because it's late in the arc. You find out a whole lot about Red Rose. She gets a whole bunch of development. But what I like is that Santa Claus basically exists in this one as another paladin of hope to kind of like help her on her journey as Red Rose kind of figures out what aspect of hope she wants to embody. And he kind of just like, tells you stuff like, oh, once you pick, you're kind of stuck with this forever. But it's still like, she gets the milk and cookies, and this is your classic Santa Claus. And it fits exactly with everything that Fables does. In fact, I'm surprised that Santa Claus doesn't show up more often, because he's extremely powerful in the Fables world. How many people can do what he does?
And
but yeah, it's just
as much of a fable as like Snow White and all the others.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if they're going to go into Wizard of Oz, like literally in all the issues preceding this, they missed the boat not getting Santa Claus early. But it's nice, it's cozy. She talks to the matchstick girl. She then has her own almost like Dickensian run-in with ghosts of future and present and past and such. So it's just a neat little one-off. When we were thinking of Christmas comics, this is one I remembered reading years ago, and it's like, oh, that one totally counts, and we have it, and it's in this nice big collection. Get all the collections. Fables is still incredible, still holds up. Don't forget to play Wolf Among Us on Steam as well.
I love Fables. There's so much, and you're so right about, like, you can't really say much about it because you'll give a lot away. It seems like
I feel like I gave away too much already.
every volume there's like some big revelation. And I just love the way it takes all of the different fairy tales together. And it's a good one to read side by side with Klaus, I think, as well.
Probably.
Yeah.
That would work. And then you've got one of my favorite things coming up now too.
Yeah, so my next one I'm going to talk about is a very DC Rebirth Holiday. And this is kind of like a holiday special of DC Comics. What would you say, like narrated or moderated by Harley Quinn herself?
And written by Paul Dini, who's my favorite Batman guy, who created, or no, Bruce Timm created Harley Quinn, but it was those two. They did the animated series.
Yeah. So you have these different, little holiday stories for the different characters. A lot of them are Batman related. And they are just delightful. I was laughing through even like the Batman stories, which, are usually darker, but these were, just more lighthearted. And it's so great that Harley Quinn just like kind of narrates through this whole story. And that's, I don't really want to say very much more about it because I don't want to give too much away. There are some additional Batman stories that are Christmas related at the end that are, I guess, like just a little bit more off kilter. I would just highly recommend this one if you're looking for a good holiday read and you love all of the different DC characters.
And we all need a little delight. So yeah, the Paul Dini, Bruce Timm version of Batman is always going to be in my list. Speaking of light fun, I finally get to talk about the single most formative book of my entire life that fits so perfectly with winter and Christmas. And it is Attack of the Deranged Mutant Killer Monster Snow Goons by Bill Watterson. This is my favorite of the Calvin and Hobbes books. This one contains the story where Calvin clones himself with the morality meter on good, so the good clone does all the chores and Calvin can go be lazy. But really, the payoff for this book is the whole bit with the Snow Goons. So Calvin creates a snowman who then becomes sentient and creates other snowmen and monster snow goons, and Calvin has to stop them. But the way that this ties into Christmas is, of course, anytime it's winter, Calvin has constant morality battles with himself and with Hobbes over what constitutes being good enough to deserve the good presents. And who is this Santa person anyway, and why does he get to judge? He wasn't there for the situation. He had to throw that snowball at Susie. This is essentially where all of my morality and ethics come from, this book alone. It explains everything. It doesn't matter what age you are, you should be reading this. And then when you're done with this, you've got the entirety of Calvin and Hobbes. It's a Magical World still holds up too, especially since its end is a wonderful winter tableau, ends on a sweet note, which I just love. But yes, I knew this was coming someday.
Great. Well, we didn't talk about, we talked a little bit about magic, but we didn't really talk about magic like we said we were going to do. So maybe we'll do that next time, although who knows?
Yeah, we'll see where the winds take us, because since it's a month between comics chat now, that's a lot of time to read new comics and find something new that we want to talk about. So.
Yes, and don't forget to join us for Comic Chat on Tap is what we've called it. Sarah Maloney will be joining us live, and we're going to be talking about our favorite comics of the year. Our question of the month is going to be, what was one comic you read this year that you had always meant to get around to? So it doesn't need to be...
Good year for discovering old stuff that just fell under the radar or just slipped through the cracks.
Exactly. It doesn't need to be a new one.
Mm-hmm. So, no urgency to keep up with what's current. Just read what you want. There's no rush. But as always, thank you guys for joining us.